Hi everyone, I wanted to go over a few of the geometry vocabulary words that you've been learning about the last 2 days. Most of these vocabulary words are words that you learned about in 3rd grade when you were studying geometry. The first one is called the point. A point is an exact location in space. This particular point right here is point A. I've named it point A. It is describing a certain point, and it is called A. The next word is a line. A line is made up of all points in a straight path, and that will form a line. You'll know it's a line because at either end there is an arrow. Those arrows are showing that it is going on and on. It doesn't stop in either direction. Next we have a line segment. A line segment is if you were to zoom into a part of that line where it has a beginning and an end, that would give us a line segment. It has an endpoint on either end, kind of like a start and an end point to show a part of a line. Okay. Now there's some different types of lines that I want to show you. So I'm going to flip this around. The last 2 days you were working with parallel lines, intersecting lines, and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines are lines that are the same distance apart, but they don't touch. There's no curves in them. They're straight lines, same distance apart, and they never touch. They never come together at any point. You might find a parallel line in tiles, bricks, patterns like that, maybe in your bathroom or your kitchen floor. Bench, the backs of benches, the wood, the grain of the wood, or even the pieces of the wood might have parallel lines in it. Look around your house tonight and see if you can find any parallel lines. The next set of lines that I want to talk to you about are intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are the opposite of parallel lines. Where I said parallel lines never touch and they're always the same distance apart, intersecting lines are lines that are going to cross at a point. So I have 2 lines. I have the 2 arrows at the end showing that these lines go on and on in both directions. There is no end. But you'll notice right here is where they meet. They intersect. Okay, this is where they meet. I'm gonna make it a little bigger. They have a point where they cross, their paths cross. Okay, intersecting lines are also found all over your home or outside. Take a look around and see if you can find any. Send me a private message and why don't you send me a picture of what you find. The next type of line I want to talk to you about are perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are like intersecting lines. However, what they do is they form 4 perfect squares. So 4 what we call right angles. Perfect squares. There's a square in each corner. So they intersect, but then they form 4 right angles. An intersection, like at the end of your street or on the highway where there's a traffic light, that's usually where you could find perpendicular lines. They always put that traffic light there so that traffic doesn't run into each other because they're going in 2 different directions. Okay. I'm going to flip back to the front because there's a few more vocabulary words I want to talk to you about. Okay. We have array. We have a vertex. And we have an angle. Now I'm sure most of you remember from 3rd grade what array is. Array has an endpoint. It's part of a line, but that other end goes on and on. It goes on and on in one direction. It has a starting point and then continues. That's called a ray. Now, I'm gonna just skip down here to angle. If I put two of those rays together, I've now formed an angle. You'll see here's that endpoint. One ray is going in this direction. I have another ray going in the opposite direction, and now I've formed an angle. This point in the middle is very important. Without it, these two rays do not connect, and that is what we call the vertex. The vertex is the corner, that point in the middle that connects those two rays. Okay? Now, I want to talk about a few types of angles. Just going to erase these. Not talking about lines anymore. I want to talk about angles, and I'm sure you remember this from 3rd grade, because when you hear these vocabulary words, I think it's definitely going to ring a bell. And I'm going to put angles up here. The first angle we have is called the right angle. A right angle is something that I just talked about. I'm just going to flip this back. Don't want to make you dizzy. Oh, no, I already erased that. Never mind. Sorry. A right angle is part of perpendicular lines. There are two rays. They share that endpoint, but their middle is perfect. It makes a perfect square. Okay? The next one is an acute angle. An acute angle is an angle that would actually fit inside of a right angle. It's smaller than a right angle. So I'm going to draw a right angle. And an acute angle would actually fit inside that right angle. Now, this isn't the only type of acute angle. It could be any angle that opens up to almost a right angle. Okay, so any angle that fits inside of a right angle is called an acute angle. I always like to think the word cute is in there, and we always call babies cute or puppies cute, and they're small, right? They're smaller than the adult dog or an adult human. So that cute will help you remember that that cute little angle will fit inside of a right angle. The last angle I want to talk about is the obtuse angle. The obtuse angle is kind of the opposite of an acute angle. Here's that right angle again. That right angle kind of is our guide. Anything smaller that fits inside is acute, but anything larger, like this angle here in black, that's bigger than the right angle, that's obtuse. It's larger than a right angle. It could not fit inside it. In fact, the right angle would fit inside of an obtuse angle. Okay? So there are all our vocabulary terms that you're going to need to know for this geometry unit.